Hello everyone, welcome back to our farm. Today we have different operations going on. First, we are harvesting maize. Now this season we did not have a bumper harvest. I'll explain later why. So this is the part of the field where the maize was. As you can see, there are a few maize stalks that have already been harvested. We are also going to talk about the progress of our avocado, which you can see here. And we're also going to look at the progress of the arrowroots, popularly known in Kenya as Nduma. Okay, that is our avocado, part of the avocado. And you can see there are lots of weeds. These are the Ndumas. They also have weeds which need to be weeded. As I said, there are lots of farm operations that are going to take place by the end of our stay here. And so in the distance, you can see the maize. We'll talk about that later. So here we are walking through the avocado farm. The maize are in the far distance, as you can see. So as I zoom in, you can see how much the weeds have taken over, the grass and the other weeds. We are going to have intensive plowing and weeding. Those are some of the maize that have already been slashed. In our area, we do not harvest maize while standing. The maize is first slashed to the ground, and then we harvest from that point on. I know there are other people who just harvest them as they are standing, the plants, but here we prefer them lying on the ground. Then they're harvested as soon as possible to avoid rotting. So the area that you see a lot of stalks, they're a bit hilly. Those are the areas that were not affected by water. So that brings me to the reason why we have a poor harvest, because the area of land where we had planted maize is waterlogged, usually gets waterlogged. And on this time round, it seems that the drainage was not sufficient, hence the rotting of the roots of the plants, and we lost quite a bit of the crop. On the upper side, where you can see me now zooming, those are the avocados. So the way we have divided this farm is, sorry, those are not the avocados yet. Those are still the weeds. This whole area had maize. And now, because of the water, when you see it like this, it looks dry because it has not rained yet. But the moment it rains, this place becomes waterlogged. This is the lower part of the farm. The farm is about 18 acres, and about 6 acres is completely swampy. So when we plant maize, we have to put enough drainage for the water to flow freely without affecting the plants. But this time round, it seems that the drainage was not sufficient and we lost quite a bit of our crop. Now, the area where I've been zooming, there is usually a stream passing there. And that's why you see a bit of foliage in that area. We have a dam. Actually, you see the place where I've zoomed, where there seems to be a bit of a hill. That just next to it, I'll show you later. We have a dam that we dug because there is a natural spring in the farm, and when it overflows, it goes to the swampy part, and then it flows down to the river. So we dug a bit of a dam that is still work in progress. And then in that dam, we will be using that water for irrigation or put up a fish pond. We've not yet decided, sorry. So this part where I am zooming right now is where the water passes from the dam to this area, and you can see there's quite a bit of overgrowth here that needs to be cleared. So that tells you that there's a bit of work to be done on this particular farm. So this whole area that you see, like it's a whole bush, is supposed to be a stream. Okay, and I can see some plant thriving over here. I don't know what kind of a plant is this, the green one. I'll try to zoom in, that one. Yes, if anybody knows what it is, it's growing in water. Actually, it's in standing water. The stream, not standing water, but where the water is passing from our dam going to the river. So it's doing quite well. I don't know what kind of plant it is. Now down here where I'm zooming, there is water, a lot of water. Now this other part of the farm, this is where I've planted the Nduma, also known as arrowroots. And you can also see they are in need of weeding. When you look at this farm, you might think that we've not been weeding for a long time. But we weed, like for the arrowroots, we weed them every month. Okay, but you can see how fast the weeds grow, because this place usually has water. It's swampy. Now, for example, look at this plant. It is trying to grow, but the weeds are almost choking it. The grass grows here very fast. I think the soil is also very fertile because it had been lying fallow for some time before I decided to plant Nduma on it. You can see how beautiful this weed looks, and it is thriving on my farm. You'd think that I will harvest it later for something. Okay, look at that type of grass. This is the grass that grows in the swampy area. So you can see already that as much as I am blessed to have a natural spring on the farm, it also comes with its own challenges. Now this place is where the water passes from the dam to that stream that I was showing you. This is the dam. As you can see, it is still work in progress. We are trying to excavate it so that it can provide water for the upper part of the farm for irrigation. The upper part is where the avocado is, so that in the drier months, we can use the water for irrigation. And we were also thinking that since the water is a lot, we can also create a fish pond out of it. But that is still work in progress. As you can see, it has a lot of life forms in it. Inside here, there are frogs. Someone mentioned a snake, which I've not yet verified. So this is a very good resource. Now, if you look at this part of the farm, this is the dam, like I was showing you. It's quite big, and we had tried burning part of the weeds. It had grown a lot of weeds, and one of our farm workers just set it on fire. Okay, so this is where the water flows through to go to the stream. We had opened up that part because there was a lot of water in the dam, and we needed to excavate and remove some of the weeds. So we opened up that particular area. This is part of the land that I've been talking about. The upper part where, if you look closely, you'll see I still have workers on the farm. A few workers are still harvesting. I'm trying to zoom in, as you can see. And down there, my neighbor has brought cows to graze on the part that we have already harvested. Okay, so the workers are trying to collect the few remaining cobs from the farm so that we may start the shelling process. Here we shell right from the farm so that you only carry the bags of maize home without the cobs. That also reduces the transportation cost. So as you can see, this is the part where we are now shelling. The cobs are taken to the upper part of the farm near the road, and then the shelling machine is brought in. One of my neighbors owns one, so I just pay for the shelling. Here I have my kids are laboring in the farm. It's good to teach them young. So I'm trying to hide so that they don't see me taking the video, because if they see me, they will want to come and participate in filming instead of working. So here they are trying to help in the shelling process. I have a few workers there and the owner of the machine helping with the shelling, so that the cobs that remain are just left here on the farm, and we only carry the actual maize home for drying now. And for you to shell the maize, you must make sure that they are at least 60 to 70% dry on the cob, or else you will lose most of your crop to the machine. The machine will grind it up instead of shelling. So that is how this is done. Up to that point, at least one part of the work that we came to do is almost done. That is the harvesting of the maize. As I am looking for workers, casual laborers, to get into the Nduma farm and weed before the rains come. Because if you can see, the weather has already started changing. We are expecting the rains to fall anytime soon. And that means that after harvesting, we also have to start thinking of land preparation. In spite of the poor harvest that I got from the maize, I'm still going to plant maize. But this time round, I have learned my lesson, and I'm going to make more drainage. I'm going to dig more drainage in that part of the farm before the rains come. So this is the maize that we got from the farm. We already home and we have laid it out to dry. So this drying process is another one that you have to be very careful, or else you lose your crop, because as I mentioned, the rains are almost here. Like now, it's afternoon, but we've already covered the maize because the rains were threatening to fall. The rain was threatening to fall, so I had to cover them up very fast. And you have to cover completely, or else you'll be set back a few days if the maize is rained on. So there has to be someone who monitors the weather. Once you see that it might rain, you cover up your maize and wait for the rain to pass before you continue with the drying process. So here I've already brought a tractor to the place where we harvested maize, and he is going to plow. You can see the maize was growing just next to the Nduma, or the arrowroots, and that tells you how swampy the area is. For now, it looks dry because the rains have not started. But like I mentioned, the rainy season is almost here with us. So we have to till the land before the rains come. The tractor is going to till the land, then we'll wait for around 4 to 5 days, and there'll be a repeat till before we plant. And as you can see, there are these white birds that usually come when we are tilling. And I don't know if this is what we call a symbiotic relationship, but they follow the tractor for any unearthed bug. They eat whatever life form is unearthed from this tilling process. Sometimes we even unearth snakes. Yeah. And the birds make a meal out of some of them. It's quite interesting to watch. Okay, so and it's interesting that they are quite nimble. They're never crushed by the tractor. And this part of the farm, this is now the upper part where I have the avocado farm. It's still same farm, but on the upper side where I now have red loamy soil. And this is the avocado orchard, or the avocado farm. As you can see, the way the tractor has plowed, it's not plowed the entire farm, because they have to be they have to avoid the avocado. So at the end of the day, we have harvested and we have dried, we have protected the crop, and a few days later we bag the crop we are grateful for the bags that we got, and we prepare for the next planting season. God willing, we will have a better harvest. As you know, the process of farming is a process of learning, relearning, and unlearning. So I thank you for being with us. If you've not subscribed, kindly consider doing so. I will update you on more farming activities as we go on. Thank you for being with us, and see you next time. Bye bye.